That's good eating. That crisp, red, juicy apple. It's not only good eating, it's good for you. But you cannot fully appreciate an apple's tangy, health-giving goodness without some knowledge of modern apple production methods. For full apple enjoyment, you should know about the land where the world's most famous apples are grown. So, let's take a trip by travelogue to the Apple Bowl of the World. The Apple Bowl of the World is out on the Pacific coast, in the northwest corner of the United States. It lies in the Evergreen State, where bountiful nature has especially prepared the soil for producing the fruit that's good for you. Ages ago, blazing volcanoes showered vast areas of that renowned land with volcanic ash, creating rich mineralized soil, the soil that is now the state of Washington. Today, a large portion of western Washington is timbered with fir, spruce, and hemlock. The snow-capped Cascade Range, with its sleeping fire mountains, captures most of the rain clouds that roll inland from the Pacific Ocean, protecting the apple lands beyond. Sweeping eastward from the mountains are fertile canyons and valleys, in whose rich volcanic ash soil grow the world's greatest apple orchards. The largest of Washington's apple-growing districts is the Wenatchee Okanagan. The Yakima Valley area lies west of the Columbia River in the south-central part of the state. Other apple centers are the Spokane, the Dayton, the Clarkston, and the White Salmon Underwood. The annual production of Washington State apple land is over 40,000 carloads. Appleland was a sage-covered desert when the first settlers arrived in 1860. The transformation, however, required more than mere magic words. Behind this orchardist paradise are scientific knowledge and years of ceaseless toil. Comparable only to the valley of the Nile are these mountain-sheltered valleys, where crop failures are unknown and where apples thrive under climatic conditions that are ideal. During the growing season, the days are long and filled with sunshine, and snow-capped mountains keep the nights cool, making the apples grow big and firm and juicy, and the most vividly colored of all. In Washington's inspiring apple land, the orchardist's life is a happy one, even though his orchard does keep him busy throughout the 4 seasons. When harvest time has passed and the crop is in cold storage or on its way to world markets, the grower must condition his trees for bearing the next season's crop. Pruning an apple tree is a major operation performed only by workmen with special training. First of all, it is important that weak, worn-out wood be removed to stimulate the growth of new, fruit-bearing wood. It is essential, too, that the tree be pruned in a way which will equalize the load on all branches. Limbs that prevent the sunshine reaching the center of the tree are also removed. While the Cascade Mountains protect eastern Washington from excessive rainfall during the summer months, winter storms occasionally force their way across the mountain barrier. Then, all orchard work in apple land is suspended, and the orchard also has a brief period of rest. But even in midwinter, fruit spurs may be found, ready to burst open with the coming of spring. When the warm winds have melted winter snow and the ground has dried, pruning is on again with a rush. In past years, all orchard prunings were burned. But today, specially designed machines shred the unwanted wood into minute particles, which will be mixed with the soil when the orchard is cultivated. The orchardists are ever alert to new methods to cut production costs and maintain the high quality of their product. A research department has been set up by the Washington State Apple Commission to assist growers with any problem pertaining to fruit production and marketing. Certain elements in the soil which furnish sustenance to the growing apple crop must be replaced by the application of fertilizer. While some orchardists apply fertilizer mechanically, others prefer hand application, which permits distribution according to tree size and varying soil conditions. Pest control problems in Appleland are greatly simplified through the use of this newest development in spray applicators. No harmful insect can survive a bombardment by this machine with its battery of high-pressure nozzles. The orchard is now ready for the next treatment, disking. This is done with a tractor draw implement equipped with keen revolving discs. It thoroughly mixes the shredded prunings and all other dead vegetation with the soil and fertilizer. This vegetation will decay to help renew the soil's fertility and assist in supplying food to the plants and trees from which it came. By such methods, the naturally fertile soil of Washington State Appleland is made even more productive. Just one thing more is required: the ditches in which the water is brought to the trees. Here again, modern machinery does the job speedily. The blossom period is fast approaching. The soil preparation work is finished, and other busy workers, millions of them, will take charge. These busy little workers are hired from the beekeepers. They will assist the spring breezes in the pollination of the blossoms and will remain in the orchards till the fruit is set. Springtime at last. Appleland is celebrating the birthday of the blossoms. Their rich fragrance once again fills the valleys. The annual Washington State Apple Blossom Festival is a national attraction. It's a great day for everyone. The day on which any farmer's daughter may become a princess. During the blossom period, the orchard's moisture is provided by soil-stored snow water and spring rains. Throughout the warm, dry months to come, controlled irrigation will take over. Water is by far the most vital of all elements in apple production. The original source of Washington's water supply is the Pacific Ocean, whose foam cap breakers saturate the temperate eastbound winds. Clouds form quickly when the moisture-laden winds reach the Cascade snowfields. Rarely do these magnificent rain clouds travel far during the summer months. The mountain barrier captures the precious cargo for gradual release to the streams in which it will flow to the orchard districts. From the clouds, nature fashions a robe of ermine for her sleeping volcanoes and creates crystal lakes to mirror their eternally snow-crowned majesty. Only the ghost of a once mighty rain cloud escapes to the valleys beyond. But the streams which carry water to the apple districts are not wholly dependent upon summer rainfall. Snow fields in the frigid high country contain rivers of life-giving moisture. Set free by the warm summer sun, the snow-stored water begins its journey to Appleland. This rivulet, one of millions, will flow to a rain-fed brook. The brook tumbles down the mountainside to join a rushing river and end in a man-made lake. A modern irrigation system consists of comparatively few units. They are watershed in the mountain, reservoir created by a dam across a river, control gate at reservoir outlet, a river under control, diversion dam in river, main canal, laterals, weir in lateral, head ditches, orchard ditches, and finally a drainage canal which carries wastewater back to the river. The control gate regulates the stream flow below the reservoir. Wherever it's possible, natural courses carry the water to the orchard district. Miles downstream, the diversion dam forces part of the river's flow into a canal. The main canal supplies many smaller canals or laterals. The laterals, spaced at regular intervals, carry the water across the valley. In the lateral, a miniature diversion dam or weir diverts an allotted share of water to an adjacent orchard tract, where it seeps slowly into the rich soil, supplying lifeblood to the bearing trees. Where irrigation water under pressure is available, sprinkler systems are used for moisture application. Without man-made and man-controlled irrigation systems, the vast apple orchards of the Okanagan Valley would not exist. The same is true of the Wenatchee Valley, whose apples are also famous throughout the world. To produce high-quality apples, orchards must be given the proper amount of moisture at just the right time. This can be done only in irrigated areas, and the magic of controlled moisture supply enables the great valley of the Yakima to help provide the world with thousands of carloads of fruit. Washington State Appleland would still be the sage-covered desert of pioneer days were it not for controlled irrigation. And now under construction in east central Washington is the greatest reclamation development ever undertaken in America, the Columbia Basin Project, which will transform more than 1 million acres of rich land into a highly productive region. Water for this vast area will come from the Columbia River, which flows through central Washington. Coulee Dam, the key unit of the Columbia Basin Project, is completed, creating a lake 150 miles in length. When fully equipped, Coulee Dam will generate almost 2 million horsepower in a plant by far the largest in existence. Part of this electric power will be used in pumping water for the Columbia Basin Project. Containing more than 11 million cubic yards of concrete, the dam rises 500 feet above bedrock, the greatest man-made structure on Earth. Far below Coulee, the Columbia River becomes second in size only to the Mississippi. The Columbia's drainage basin is 1/4 million square miles. All water from that extensive area flows into the Pacific Ocean, from which it was borne by eastbound winds. And as an age has passed, it will return again and again to the mountains and valleys, providing life for fruits and flowers, supplying power for industry. How things have changed since we've been away. When we last saw the orchards, they were in bloom. Now, it's thinning time. Those men are removing excess fruit. The remaining apples will be properly spaced and have plenty of room to grow big. Oh, what a lot of stomach aches for little boys and girls were apples eaten this early. This first picking, or thinning as the growers call it, is necessary, since Washington's apple trees bear so heavily. Not only is excess fruit removed, but all small and ill-formed fruit as well, assuring a crop of highest quality at harvest time. But before the crop attains full growth, the trees must be given supports to enable them to sustain the enormous weight. How many trunks has an apple tree? You count them. One of the newest horticultural developments makes use of the airplane. Recently, it was discovered that certain hormones applied to orchards prevented pre-harvest fruit drop. The first hormone sprays were not concentrated, and application was made with conventional spray equipment. This method was slow and difficult, as hormones are applied late in the season when the trees are heavily propped. Using hormone sprays in a highly concentrated form, the airplane with a specially designed atomizing mechanism proved ideal for speedy, economical application. Since application can be made only on windless days and the effective hormone season is short, landing strips near the orchards assure the completion of the job on time. 6 minutes after landing, the plane is away again to treat an orchard at the rate of 5 trees per second. Let's get aboard and see how it's done. Well, we made it. Now let's have a look at the orchards below. And that's all there is to it. The atomized hormones settle on fruit and foliage and are absorbed by the tree. They work too. The growing season has passed. The long, warm days are ended. Autumn is here with its gorgeous colors. And it's frosty autumn that gives the apples that Washington crispness, which makes them sound so good when you bite them. Before the harvest rushes on, let's enjoy Tumwater Canyon as the magnificent highway unfolds its inspiring beauty. Just one little detour before we return. This stream furnished water for Yakima Valley's first apple orchard in 1852. Planted by the missionary fathers who preceded the first settlers by 8 years, the orchard on Autanum Creek still guards the aged mission church. Under nature's care only, it still bears fruit in abundance. Golden, health-giving fruit, which makes even brighter Washington's clear blue autumn skies. Other patches of vivid yellow against the bright blue sky are the famous Golden Delicious, and they're ready for picking. The harvest is on. Apple harvest time in Washington is the grower's busiest season. Fruit is picked at just the right time to ensure first quality. 3.5 billion apples are on the trees, and each and every apple requires careful attention in the orchard as well as in the packing plant. Every precaution is taken to prevent bruising. To further assure you an apple of first quality, many samples are taste tested. This busy scene is but one of thousands in the world's apple bowl during the harvest season. The filled boxes are loaded onto trucks designed for heavy loads and for clearing the low-hanging branches. Orchard trucks are used for short hauls only. And while some large orchards have their own packing plants, most of the fruit goes to warehouse centers. For the longer hauls, standard motor trucks are employed. Speed is essential in getting picked fruit to the packing plants. And Fruit Row at the height of the harvest season has traffic problems all its own. The packing plants are equipped with every modern convenience to facilitate handling. Fruit from dozens of orchards is unloaded at a single plant. To identify the orchard from which it comes, each box is stamped with a number assigned the grower before it enters the building. The newly picked fruit may be packed immediately or may be placed in cold storage. The first step in preparation for market is the washing operation. All orchard dust and spray deposits are removed in a power-driven rubber-lined bathtub. After a thorough dunking comes a rinse of fresh, pure water. Then the apples are dried as they pass over moisture-absorbing rolls. This rolling action not only dries the fruit, but polishes it as well, making it look as delicious as it tastes. In a never-ending stream, the gorgeously colored apples roll from the washer and hurry on to the sorting belts, where they are classified into extra fancy and fancy grades. Women working under color-corrected lights do the grading, and it is here in the sorting room that imperfect fruit is discarded. Now the production line has narrowed down to 2 belts which carry the graded fruit to the sizing machine. The sizing machine actually segregates the apples according to weight, since apples of the same weight are also the same size. This ingenious machine automatically weighs each apple and rolls it gently into its designated bin. Individually wrapped in oiled tissue, the fruit is packed for its long journey to the apple-hungry world. Equipped with modern machines of special design, Washington's apple packing plants are the last word in efficiency, and every worker is expert at his or her particular task. Experienced workmen and ingenious machines make possible a ceaseless flow of fruit from the washer to the litter, which performs the final processing operation. Some of the boxed fruit goes directly to refrigerator cars, but the greater portion goes into the cold room. In the cold room, the apples for future shipment are stored at a temperature of 30 degrees, which keeps them in perfect condition. Endlessly turning refrigeration machines and thermostatic controls maintain a constant temperature in these cold storage plants. On the Columbia River is another world-famous establishment, Apple Yard. Apple Yard is but one of the many centers in Appleland where refrigerator cars are held in readiness for transporting cargoes of good-tasting health throughout America and to seaports for shipment to all the nations of the world. Cars are iced in advance to thoroughly cool them before loading. The railroads in Appleland use thousands of tons of ice during the shipping season, and it's ice that preserves that delicious tangy flavor which makes Washington State apples so famous and assures they're reaching you in a crisp, firm condition. As the apples are conveyed from the cold room to the car, a final check is required. There's the horticultural inspector. He'll test a sufficient number of samples to determine the condition of the entire lot. Not until he is satisfied will the loaded car be released. A solid train load of apples rolling through the mountain-sheltered valleys of Washington is a common sight during the fall and winter months, when countless thousands of boxed apples leave the Pacific Northwest for you and you and you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, everywhere. According to the Washington State Apple Calendar, Apple New Year begins in September. Jonathan, the brilliant red apple for Halloween, is first to reach the market. Delicious is ready in October. Its flavor makes it the Christmas favorite. Golden Delicious follows in November and remains along with the red variety through February. Rome Beauty, the Grand Baker, also appears in November and is good through March. Wine Sap, the tart, juicy, all-purpose apple, is the third variety for November. The wine sap will remain on the markets through June. Yellow Newtown completes the list, reaching you in January. One of the best keeping apples and available until the end of the apple market season. But regardless of which variety you buy, or when, or where, here's something to remember. Put the apples in the refrigerator as soon as you possibly can, and keep them there till you use them. Keep them cold, and they'll remain crisp, the way you like them best. And here's a tip for you school kids. Besides an apple for teacher, be sure there's one in your lunch bag. There's nothing like an apple after lunch for that mouthful of clean, long-lasting, good taste. To get the best results from cooking apples, use the right variety for each purpose. For instance, the Rome Beauty is grand for baking. For pies, you can use Jonathan, Wine Sap, Yellow Newtown, or Golden Delicious. And for an apple salad, the Delicious is super. Just try it. There are numberless ways to prepare and serve tempting apple dishes. So many, in fact, we won't even attempt to describe them. But your dealer will gladly supply you with recipes. Recipes that will tell you the right variety to use for each purpose. Of course, there are some folks who like apples best just as nature made them, and handheld. That's what started an old Washington custom, the Apple Hour. The Apple Hour is popular throughout the country, and Apple Hour meetings are fun. All you need are a few easy chairs, a fireplace, and a good supply of apples fresh from the refrigerator. Washington State apples, the fruit that's good for you.